Every night is the Rangers Journal night.
Hello everyone, and a very, very warm welcome to the Ibrox channel podcast on the Rangers Journal, live this Friday evening. I'm your host Andrew, and I have a panel of absolutely fantastic guests this evening to discuss Rangers reaching the quarterfinals of the Europa League for the third time. Yes, the third time in 17 years, which is just incredible, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. So we'll be discussing that, and we'll be looking ahead to Sunday's Old Firm away trip, where we do actually have some away support. So yeah, looking forward to that. And apologies everyone, my voice is absolutely done, not because of the game last night. I've got a chest infection at the minute, so if I look like I'm struggling, don't worry, I'm all good. So yes, to join me this evening, here's my dream team. So first of all, we have a debut on the pod this evening for the Ibrox channel. So it's I hope it's going to be akin to Chris Boyd's debut all them years ago. It's Mark. So how you doing, man? No pressure.
No pressure. We're all wanting the same things, in it. Whether it's the next round of the Europa or 3 points on Sunday. So all good. All good, thank you.
Good man, good to have you on, Mark. Good to have you
thank
on.
You.
And nextly we have nextly, is that even a word? I've just made one up. There we go. That's what antibiotics does to you. Yeah, so joining me as well, my next guest is more well known around Ibrox, and even the king of Ibrox himself, Derek Parlane. It's Cammy. Glad we've peeled you off the roof of the West Enclosure from last night, mate. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. It's you went all Charlie Nicholas there, making up words that weren't part of the English dictionary, you know. So last night I was actually sitting elsewhere. I was in the Govan front, about 25 yards away from the Mad Turks. So I woke up this morning, my head was still bursting because they never shut up for the whole 90 minutes. But it was. As Mark said, end result was all we hoped for, and we'll obviously break into it. But all good. Last day of the Europa League is quite remarkable. The performances across the period since Gerrard came in, and I mean I've seen stats today with regard to where we are across the last 5 years. Across my lifetime, this is the most consistent Rangers in Europe. On the flip side, when we can't do anything domestically, so it's frustrating. If we could just get that happy balance of winning at home and being competitive, but yeah, it's look forward to the next round.
Like we can't have one without the other, really, can we? We've got to be terrible somewhere. It just seems to be Scotland. But yeah, no, good to have you on, Cammy. It'll be good to discuss things with you, big man. And lastly, we do have the former secretary of the Philip Sebo Loyal, which used to be the Philip Vaniero Loyal. Which Ryan? How you doing, big man?
How's that, mate? Yeah, glad to be back, lads. I've just a 4th consecutive Friday, so I'm doing all right. That's me back in.
Oh, look at that. You're as I was about to say you're as regular as Dessers, because I guess he's the only player I could think of that's actually not injured all the time. But there we go. Nice one, big man.
Just as good as him, I know.
Oh, no, I've heard your finishing is much better. But yeah, so welcome to everyone in the comments as well. You can get your questions in and we can ask them. And don't forget, get subscribing. There's lots coming from the Rangers Journal over the rest of the season. And there'll be other big things coming over the summer and everything. So just get liking, get subscribing, and get your notifications turned on. You can also follow the Ibrox channel on Twitter at the Ibrox channel. And before we start, don't forget to check out the Rangers Journal's amazing sponsor, Off to the Match I Go, for some unique Rangers gift ideas, and you will get 10% off with the discount code. I can't even say it, discount code Journal10. So scan the QR code on the bottom of the video if you're watching this, or if you're listening to this via the audio podcast store, then visit www.offtothematchigo.co.uk, and I'll put the banner up now so you can see that's where you get your discount code. So I hope you've all recovered from last night's nail-biting Europa League second leg, last 16 tie versus Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce. we never do things easy, do we? It's just the Rangers way, isn't it? So, Mark, I'm going to go into the teams just to kind of refresh everyone. So, when the team news came out, it did become apparent that we were looking at a little bit of a 3-4-2-1. I think some people were saying at first it was a bit of a 3-4-3. James Tavernier, Suter and Balogun at the back. We had Sterling, Raskin, Barron and Jeffrey in the midfield. We had Czerny and Diamande just in front, and we had Dessers up top. So, Mark, what did you reckon to that team? Was that the kind of team you were expecting?
Yeah, I pretty much thought so. I thought there'd have been two changes for the starting lineup over in Turkey, and that was Balogun come in, and I thought when Sterling came on over Ridvan, I thought he nullified St Maximin over in Turkey. So I thought that would have been the two changes. Obviously, everybody being fit. I just thought we just didn't quite have our distances. I thought Dessers at times was quite isolated, but yeah, I thought that was as strong as we were going to be in that shape. I think for what we had available.
Yeah, I do agree there. There was obviously we have a little bit more depth at the minute on the bench. So going through the subs there, Cammy. So we were looking at we had Bajrami, Curtis, Hadji, Egerman, obviously Kelly, Lawrence, McCausland, Nsiala, Danilo, Proper, Royce, and Yilmaz. So Cammy, that was actually not a bad bench really. We had options to turn to.
Yeah, one of these ones that on paper the bench looks strong. It's sometimes when they come onto the pitch that's the problem with some of them, to be honest with you. But it is certainly, if you go back 6 weeks when we played at Old Trafford, and it was Dessers and 8 kids. You know, we've certainly we're in a better position than we were then, and it was one of these ones going into it, Andrew. I just didn't know. It's a strange scoreline that you went away from home and got a result, and I think we'll dig into it. But I thought we were caught between two stools at a lot of points. We didn't know quite how gung ho to attack, and we weren't quite confident enough to sit in. But yeah, the depth is certainly getting there. It's just about improving the overall quality. The subs that were used were pretty much the ones that I expected, to be honest, over the course of the 2 hours.
Yeah, certainly were. And actually, obviously, we'll get onto it a little bit later, but it was good to see not like for like changes that we've been so used to under Clermont. But Ryan, formation 3-4-2-1. Is that a formation you'd favour with the kind of back three?
I was happy enough with the start lineup. I probably would have made the call up putting Sterling in that position before the game. He didn't really do so much justice over there. I think they already played. Didn't do so much justice. I don't think going forward and things like that. He always gives you energy, which I think all the team kind of gave last night. I'm a fan of the formation. I think we just need to stick. We just get the players used to it, and I think that's the formation. That formation could work for us. It's just the previous manager. I think we just had that same formation, same style, and it just kind of. You know what I mean? It's I think the players are enjoying a little change as well.
Yeah. No, I do agree. When you looked at the Fenerbahce side, they lined up with a 3-4-2-1 as well. There was 3 changes. Osai Samuel came in. Fred came in for Szymanski, who was pushed up into a more attacking midfield role. You had Talisca in for Tadic. And you had in Nasri favoured over Dzeko. So some big changes there, some big names coming in, Mark. Any of them kind of frighten you at first when you saw the likes of Fred there on the team sheet?
I thought if Raskin and Barron could get in about Fred and Anabat no give him time, they weren't really a worry for me, to be honest. I know Fred actually played quite well, I thought, in fairness to him, when our press wasn't quite right, we sort of tried to press in 1s and 2s. But overall, when I seen it, I thought, I don't think Fred's got the legs anymore. I don't think Anabat's got the legs. So overall, from that, I was quite happy that as long as we were going to go, and I think we've done it a few times, we nicked the ball in about them and round about them very quickly. And then we sort of broke and sort of picked the wrong option a few times that we'd obviously already touched on, and we didn't maybe play Czerny quick enough or deal sort of and we get caught in 2 minds. I think that was right. I think the distances at the game was so stretched because we didn't know where to go and attack, and then losing the goal right on half time didn't help. Everybody probably after the 40th minute when obviously we'd done the minutes of applause for Christopher, but then you're just going right, get to half time, keep it not an each, and then reset yourself, and then bang right on half time, as I say. I think it takes a wee nick off Sterling, the cross. Can he go and shut it down a wee bit quicker? And then it's a unbelievable finish for the boy, to be honest, in fairness. But yeah, I just thought overall, I thought they two in there, if we can get round about them, I thought Raskin and Barron's energy going the other way. I didn't think Andrew Back and Fred would have matched it, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it was. I thought definitely the first goal is the goal that is going to be almost not quite the decider, but it does push the momentum. And the first goal was going to be so important. If we get it, we're out of sight. You know, they're not coming back into that. If they get it, they're right back in it, and their tails are up. Especially with the fragility we've got at the minute. So yeah, no, it was it definitely, as Cammy said at the top, it was a strange one going into it with the result. We were so comfortable in a sense out in Turkey, but we just couldn't take those extra couple of chances. And you know what? If maybe if the cameras were calibrated slightly differently for VAR, you never know. We could have been another goal or two up from that first leg, and you start thinking, are we going to rue that as well? So yeah, we all knew the threats would come from the wings and wide areas. Cammy, did Fenerbahce kind of play the way that you thought they would?
Pretty much. Going back to their team selection, obviously the news had broke prior to the day of the game that San Maxim was obviously not going to be playing on the left-hand side, and I think he had caused us a few problems prior to Sterling coming on. But their approach was pretty. They had a lot of possession, didn't they? You're wanting to get through the first 10, 15, 20 minutes without losing that sort of goal. But I mean, until, I think Mark said, until they scored just on the stroke of half time, they'd had some possession, but there wasn't really any, there wasn't a lot of heart stopping moments, to be honest with you. But they weren't gung ho in the way that they were attacking, but equally they weren't cautious and obviously trying to win the game. But the goal in half time's a killer, to be honest with you. And I think our performance regressed after that. We never really quite got back on top. Not that we had ever been completely dominant, but I thought the first 30 minutes, I thought we were okay with it being superb.
Absolutely correct, Cammy. 100% agree with you there. Ryan, looking at that first half, obviously not a lot really happened in that kind of first half an hour. We were fairly comfortable, but Fenerbahce did come out a couple of times on the break. There was, I think Balogun got caught out a couple of times. He was looking a little bit slow. And I think Fenerbahce did get in a couple of times, but their shooting was woeful, wasn't it?
I agree with Cam. There wasn't really any heart-stopping moments from them, but I think Mourinho kind of set them up to be calm. The game's it's a 90-minute game. I think that would have been the way he was trying to come across. I think if they went to gung-ho and we catch them on the break, as he says, the game's dead. So I think they'll just try to keep the game ticking over as much as possible. Probably try and kill the crowd a bit as well. Kind of keep possession, and obviously they know the crowd's a 12th man and European nights the Rangers. So I think they'll just try to the patience was definitely there for Fenerbahce. They weren't throwing everything at us early doors, and some of their finishing was crazy at times. Yeah, absolutely terrible.
Yeah, no, definitely that was one thing they were lacking, and I think it was something we were lacking a little bit as well, Mark. You looked at Czerny in the first half; he was looking quite energetic, quite alive. Seemed to be our main threat. Was able to get the ball past players, but was taking one too many touches, a little touch of the Dessers there a little bit. Mark, do you think that Czerny was our main outlet last night? Because Dessers did look a bit isolated. Do you think Dessers should have somebody with him up top, or was the plan for Czerny to assist by cutting in and help him out a little bit more there? Do you think that worked?
I don't think it worked as well last night as it did away, and we sort of touched on the shape, sort of a 2-10s and a 9, and I think if you're going to adopt that, then even in the SPL and in Scotland, then I think it needs to be 2 forwards with 1-10, rather than 2 10s and 1 forward. I think he has to get some support. It's been one of the issues we've had over the course. I think Tierney gets, I think his shots were a wee bit poor, and he tried to beat the extra man, and then when he gets cut back and he goes with his right foot in the first half, and I think it's on to go with his left, and I think the ball's cut back to him and he sort of nearly goes out for a throw in, I think. But no, I think it didn't work as well. It wasn't as effective. He has one strike, I think the keeper makes a really good save from, but I don't know if we used it. If that was your game to try and sort of isolate him in 1-on-1 with the centre halves and let him then chop inside and get strikes away, we didn't utilise it as much as I think we could have. Hindsight's wonderful in the game, innit? They should have played it maybe a wee half yard or a wee 30 seconds quicker into his feet and then go and drive on, I think. But it wasn't as effective, but we got through, I think, which was the most important thing. But yeah, I don't think we looked like scoring much. I think later on, Barron flashes one across at Hadji, just doesn't get to. But we didn't have really any heart-stop moments as much as they didn't either. Tavernier then has 2 fantastic sort of tackles late in the game, which sort of helped. One, I think, just at the 90-minute mark, I think he sort of dives in and the boy blazes over where they had poor finishing once again. And maybe in another night that could have been 4 or 5, to be honest, if their shooting was a wee bit better.
That's the thing. Both legs were just complete polar opposites of each other, weren't they? You know,
Yeah.
that first leg, we could have had 5 or 6 potentially. And then the second leg, you know, if their shooting was much better, because it was bizarre. There was a couple of chances 6 yards out. They managed to balloon over the bar late on, and they really were in the ascendancy. We were dead on our feet. And luckily for us, we had a little bit of rub of the green in that respect. But Cammy, looking at, as we, you know, obviously the goal goes in just before half time. It was a fairly decent finish. Completely changed the team talk, as you say. It was the worst time to score. Second half starts. We're looking a bit cagey. They're kind of attacking us. They really are pushing up. They had 2 at the back, kind of at the halfway line. They were really pushing up. We were sitting back. We just couldn't get out, could we?
Yeah, I must confess, I was starting to get the fear at that point. The opening sort of 15, 25 minutes of the second half. I feared the worst with regard to the recent home matches and what have you. The confidence within the group and within the crowd isn't at an all-time high. The fact that the longer the game went, and obviously into extra time once, I joked about I think it was the Liverpool game the night before. I says, can we just scrap extra time and just go straight to penalties? To be honest with you, to be fair, at 60 minutes, I would have taken penalties at 60 minutes. That's how I got myself through the next hour. But I think we didn't get started. We didn't react well to losing the goal just before the break, and they were certainly pushing. And on another day, they potentially put the tie to bed, and we don't even make it to extra time. But I think they've contributed to their own failings last night, Fenerbahce, to be honest. As much as Mourinho's bumped his gums on everything, he has to look at his own team, and they're the reason that they aren't in the last 8.
Oh, 100%, 100%. We'll get into his comments a little bit later as well after the game, because it was typical Jose Mourinho, worlds against them type thing. Very much similar to another team that plays in Glasgow. Yeah. It's funny how some things are familiar, aren't they? But yeah, comments are coming in, guys. Some great comments coming in here. Golden White was saying we were missing somebody like Ferguson on the park just to keep the ball and just not waste a pass. Completely agree. There was some parts of the game where we actually would move the ball around well, but especially in that second half, we just were really disjointed. Then, of course, Fenerbahce score their second. A little bit of luck in some respects with the deflection off Tav, but that's Szymanski with 2 goals. 73 minutes in, we're looking absolutely tired. We are flat out. You're seeing Cheney at this point not looking too good. He's burning out, and they were pushing for the winner, weren't they, Ryan? So did you feel at this point that we were done?
It was a hard watch at times, mate, because I felt as if we looked as if we'd played a weekend game. See, we did look, especially Big Ballard. Obviously, Big Ballard is older and stuff, but even I think he was one of the most, between him and Shirley were kind of most noticeable ones. I felt once they scored their second, it kind of looked like there was only one where I felt we just had to hang in there and try and score a sucker punch like Hadji could have scored it, to be honest, or if we moved the ball a bit quicker to share out of the wing. I think we weren't aggressive enough in the final third. I think we were very wasteful. Some passes could have been quicker, some shots could have went away a bit quicker, and we could have maybe just snatched it ourselves. But when they score their second, it was looking worrying. But at the same time, I always there's always something in the back of my head. With Rangers in Europe, I'm just like, I'll never rule us out. You know, I'm still thinking we'll still maybe get through here. Do you know what I mean? So, especially in the last 10, well, since the Gerrard tenure, do you know what I mean? You can practically rely on Rangers against anybody in Europe at the moment. But it wasn't looking great.
Yeah, no, it wasn't looking good at all. But actually, I do agree with you there, Ryan. You just know with us in Europe, something's going to come from somewhere because it always generally does, you know. And this isn't just like a one-off thing, is it? You look at the past 5 odd years in Europe, and you know, we're always into the latter part of the tournaments. We're always, you know, getting
Magic
some fairly
moments,
decent
aren't there?
results. It just always is with us, and you know, I don't think anybody can ever explain it how we can lose to Queen's Park and do this, but it's just what we do, isn't it? But
Yeah.
Mark, so obviously they're 2 up. Things aren't looking good. Cheney's looking absolutely knackered at this point. It looked like a change in the system was needed. We needed to go forward at the back, but it didn't happen as quickly as you'd hope it would have. So do you think Barry was a bit slow in kind of putting 4 at the back at that point, Mark, or do you think he was still just trying to push just to get one back?
I think he thought, right, we were so good in over away in Turkey that we'll just try and let it go as long as we can. But fair play to him, in fairness. I think he deserves a credit. I know it took him a wee bit longer to get to it, but once we went to a 4, I thought we didn't concede as many chances, and we sort of it was slightly different. And Barron goes off, and Lawrence comes on, you lose a wee bit more energy and you're sitting that wee bit deeper. I actually think for the second goal that Jeffy has to take everything. See, when he slides in like that, he has to take everything. See, if you're going to dive in that wide area, you need to take everything as a defender. But no, I thought could have changed it maybe slightly earlier in it, but I think it was more about changing it when the substitutions were made rather than try to go to that sort of a shape when you still had sort of a 2 left backs effectively on the park, and Ridvan and Jeffy, and when he replaced Sterling. And I think he just waited for that extra wee, maybe he had in his head another wee 10 minutes and you're going to go into extra time anyway, then change it now for fresh legs. Obviously Danilo, everybody seen, was very unhappy. He thought he was coming on and then sort of didn't, which for fresh legs. But is he going to maybe start Sunday if Dessers is tired, or is that maybe thinking towards that now as well? So yeah, I think there's a lot. I think he deserves credit that he was brave enough to change it. If it changes it and you lose a goal, everybody's probably sitting going, well, why did he change it? We were doing okay. So yeah, could have. I think the more support to the forward would have helped sort of earlier if he could have, and sort of the way we try to line up with that. But yeah, you'll take it, I think.
Yeah, no, it is refreshing to see somebody that does change it up a bit more. We have witnessed Clement change things in the past, but it's few and far between, and it's not anything major. So it was good to see, and you could, because we were sitting far too deep in that second half. You could see it. We weren't getting out, and any ball that we were getting out wasn't going anywhere. And they were quick to get the ball back in and press us because they were coming forward in numbers as well. They had changed from that first half where they had a lot of men behind the ball in defence when we were trying to create anything. So you could see Jose was gunning for it, and you could. Now, well, you mentioned there, Mark, about Danilo. So I'm going to come to Cammy now. So obviously Danilo was getting stripped. Because Cherry was getting a massage at the touchline. I think his muscles were just absolutely seizing up. He looked like he was coming off. However, he was able to continue. Danilo wasn't happy, puts his bib back on, and he just punches the seat behind him a couple of times. Now, for you, is this unacceptable behaviour, or does this just show that Danilo's chomping at the bit to play and you want to see our players desperate to play? What do you reckon, Cammy?
I can't be too critical. The guy's had a horrendous period across his Rangers career with various injuries. he's wanting to be involved. He's frustrated. He's got his top. He's ready to come on, because obviously it looked like Czerny did look burst during that first period of extra time. I want the number of the person that done the massage, because they certainly done a hell of a job on him in the second 15 minutes. You know, if they can come and see me after I've ran Manchester to Liverpool in 5 weeks, then if that's the sort of work. But no, seriously, Danilo, he's just frustrated. His Rangers career hasn't really got started, and I think that's just. They've caught this image of him punching the dugout and all that sort of stuff, but it's not a big deal. Czerny, to be fair, he wants to stay on. He wants to, because I had him done as one of the 5 penalty takers when we were talking about it. So I was hoping he was going to stay on, and I thought Danilo might have come on for somebody else that wasn't going to take a penalty, sort of thing. You're starting to plan ahead, but no, I'll not be criticising the guy. He wants to play, and I'll give credit to Czerny. It would have been easy. Rangers have had many players over the years, particularly foreign players, that they rip their tights, or they feel a wee bit tired and they take the first opportunity to get off the park. Czerny isn't a Rangers player, but he's gave us 100% since he came, and I think he'll continue to. So Danilo's chance will come. He just has to be patient.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I think on his day, Danilo's a very, very good striker. But yeah, I thought we probably would have brought him on for Czerny. But yeah, now you can see maybe he's been saved for Sunday, because, of course, that's only a couple of days away. And with Danilo's injury record potentially as well, you don't want him picking up anything, going down with anything. So, you know, I guess it's one of those. It's definitely a managerial decision there. Ryan, so of course, as that second half wore on, we actually grew into it with the shape change. We had a couple of chances. Hadji was brought down outside the box. Tav got a free kick away, but I think it was just too much at the keeper. It was the right height for the keeper at his right-hand post. And then obviously we head to extra time. There was a point where just everybody is just passing the ball around, all leggy. And then, of course, we get through to penalties. So, Ryan, looking at going towards penalties, did you think that we would get through this?
I was confident with the penalties. I just felt that there was something about that keeper. I didn't think he liked the camera saves. I didn't, there was just something about him. I don't know if I can put my finger on. I'm just like, we'll get the better of him here. He made himself look good, I think, with the saves he was making. I think some of the saves are quite easy saves, and I was like, and then he was obviously he gets down with the injury and stuff, and I was just like, this is going to be a night, I think. And obviously we've got it onto the crowd where the Union Bears sit. So obviously we've got the atmosphere behind the goal as well. So I was quite confident that Butland would save a couple. We'll save one or two at least. But I'm not big with penalties, especially after doing what to say the word. But after, and then I just had a good feeling about it. It's just with the keeper and stuff. I was just like, yeah, we've got this here. I think because we dug in as well. So I think it's because we weren't in the game so much. I think it was because it would be really against the run of play. We did win it as well. I just think it was all kind of aligned for us.
Yeah, no, obviously you mentioned there our last penalty shootout, which just, I hate penalty shootouts now because of that. It is a lottery at times, but yeah, speaking of the keeper there, it was looking like he was going to be substituted actually going into the penalties, which was quite interesting from Mourinho, but I guess that's something he would do. It doesn't matter if it ends up ruining his career, but yeah, Egrubat, there was a few times in the game I noticed where he sclaffed a few clearances. There was one he nearly let it roll in the goal, and I really didn't think we tested him enough. But yeah, so penalties, they came in, Mark. We had Tadic stepped up first, and it was a good save, which was a great way to start. Obviously, we had James Tavernier score his. We had Dzeko score his. Czerny scored his. Djuku scored his. And then Hadji, which I have to say, Hadji's penalty was a bit soft, wasn't it? Because it bobbled before it got to the keeper. What do you reckon, Mark? Was that a good penalty from Hadji? Or was it just
no, it's not even right in the corner, unfortunately. And there is a big sort of a tall goalkeeper as well. When he gets down, he actually pushes onto the post, but I think he should save it a lot more comfortable. I think he tries to make it
agree.
look a lot better than what it was. It's still one in it. It's not really right in the corner. If it goes your way, it's great, but I don't think he was up with much conviction. He probably wanted to desperately score in for his dad's relation to the Galatasaray fans and various bits and pieces, but he stood up and took it, which is that was actually the same side he went in the cup final, I think. And obviously it was more in the corner in that one. But yeah, I wish I'd shared your confidence when we went to penalties, because I wasn't, after the last couple, I wasn't too confident. But then obviously when Butland saves the first one, and then it's an unbelievable hand as well to Fred's as well, which is, it reminds me of the one European game a couple of years ago, and I think McGregor gets a really big strong hand against.
Oh yes,
It's a really, really great hand he gets, and it's so much power, and it just reminds me a wee bit of that save where he was full stretch but gets a right good strong hand on it, and I delighted. But then I wonder if Butland would have stepped up to take 5. And that's the thing, isn't it? Was Butland up next? Was he up next to win it?
Well, that is the question. Who was going to take the 5th penalty? Because, of course, yes, after Hadji's miss, we were lucky our lead was essentially restored when Fred missed. Tom Lawrence put it away quite well considering. And then, of course, Yandas, his penalty ended up with Rogic's somewhere over the south side of Glasgow. That ball's still there, and it was just jubilation at Ibrox. It was obviously the game. It wasn't a great result, a 2-0 defeat, but we made sure we stayed in it, and we've made sure we have got through to the quarterfinals of the Europa League. Like this is Glasgow Rangers doing it once again through to them quarterfinals. This is just unbelievable. Cammy, I'm going to ask you this, and I know obviously you've only got to look ahead to the next game, but do you think we could go further in this tournament?
I think it's a big ask, but this is Rangers in Europe. Anything is possible. To be honest with you, I think before the game in Turkey, I wanted just to stay in the tie when we came back to Ibrox. We've obviously it's a different. The next round, Bilbao at home, same situation. I just want to stay in the tie for going across to Spain and having something to play for. I think the fact that it's their venue that's going to be hosting the final is going to be a big motivation for Bilbao. But Rangers in Europe, anything's possible. I'm not. I wouldn't say I feel as confident as I did back in 2022, just with the personnel and the way that we were playing at that particular moment. But anything is possible. Dare to dream and all that sort of stuff. So we'll see what happens in the first leg and give ourselves something to aim for when we go over to Spain.
Dare to dream. Oh, what words they are. Ryan, obviously, you look back to 08 and we were kind of just happy to get to Manchester, weren't we? We knew we got there on defence. You know, Walter was just amazing at putting a squad together with limited budgets and getting a tune out of them. Obviously, Seville, we had done so well to get there, scoring a lot of goals along the way, putting out some fairly decent sides. That one was a gut punch because we probably should have won that, really, and we should have. And then you look at this one now, you look at the teams that are left in that kind of in the quarterfinals. You still got Manchester United, who we narrowly lost to at Old Trafford. You still got Spurs in there, and of course we are facing Athletic Bilbao. Do you reckon we can do anything? Obviously, the first legs at Ibrox. Do you think we can get a win, or is that just a little bit too much for us?
Can we beat Bilbao at Ibrox? Absolutely. Yeah. Don't see why not. I fancy against Rangers against any one of the teams at Ibrox on our day. I think we could beat any one of them. It's obviously just putting our guts away. Well, you've just got to put the guts away performances in like we did against Fenerbahce as well. It's just a little bit different this time because we've got the home tie first. So it's switched on its head. If you can get the win at Ibrox, then you can fight for your lives in Bilbao. But I wouldn't rule Rangers out to go into the semi-final. Honestly, I wouldn't.
Oh, do you know what? Marvin Andrews is saying keep believing. I'd hope that, I just want to believe Do you know what? It'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Well,
I thought you were going to burst into song there, Andrew, when you said about Marvin Andrews said keep believing.
Not with this cough, but do you know what a guy he is, man. You see him on Twitter in the morning, a rainy day, and he's sitting in his motor singing away. What a guy! I want to live my life like Marvin Andrews, just the happiest man around. What a guy! Now, looking at the end of the game, of course, we had the presser from Jose Mourinho, and I've got some little excerpts here. Of course, I know we've all seen them, but it's just prime Jose. So he said, "We won tonight 2-0. Only one team deserved to win. Only one team deserved to win after 90, after 120. We should have had 3 penalties. We lost the tie because we were not good in the first game. We trained penalties 3 days in a row. The players were confident, but when you miss the first, it creates pressure. It is what it is. To be knocked out, I prefer to be knocked out. Being the best team and losing on penalties, it was a great comeback." I don't think the history books ever really remember that type of comeback because you don't get through it. Interesting comments there, Mark, from Jose. Is that just what you expect from him, the pantomime performance?
Yeah, 100%. I thought he blamed somebody else. I didn't get penalties, and then he alluded to another couple of things, and I don't want to say them in case you've already got them sort of as next sort of points for the boys. But he was always going. He never takes the blame, does he? You know what I mean? And then, in fairness, Ferguson said he come in and said some nice words as well. So it's just typical Josie, and it's never be his fault. He was always going to blame VAR or blame somebody for sort of his performance. I know they say he should have 3 penalties, but I don't actually think any. I know they go to VAR, and even at that it's still a debate, but there's none that you look at, I don't think, and think that is quite close that they should have got one. I don't even remember the 3, to be honest.
I think they were more screaming at the final whistle when Tav put in that last-ditch tackle of last-ditch tackles on Kostic, wasn't it? In the box. It was a beautiful challenge because you see it in real time and you go, oh, God, no. Especially at that point of the game. But he knew he was getting there, and he won it perfectly. And the whole, I think Mourinho just got a yellow card just before that, and the bench was screaming, which was good because it was wasting time for us in them last kind of couple of minutes. That's just typical Jose, isn't it? It was also kind of talking about the last final that he was in, and like he was kind of insinuating about some sort of conspiracy, but he was being very clever about the words he was choosing, being a bit tactful because he doesn't really hold up in front of UEFA again. But it's just typical Jose, isn't it?
It certainly is, and he sort of touches on Bilbao as well. I think they played Bilbao in the sort of a league phase, and he says, "Oh, the finals in Bilbao," and he's sort of hinting at that the referees are going to do anything that they can to let Bilbao go there. So hopefully that, if that goes in our favour now, and the referees are more, everybody's watching us, then we might get a couple of offsides that weren't offside in Turkey might go our way this time, you know.
Come on, officials and us going our way. When does that ever happen? When's that ever happen? You'll start something there, Mark. Cami, so of course, after the game, Sky Sports had a little bit of an exclusive. They managed to catch sight of Andrew Kavanagh. He was in the crowd. They caught him outside the stadium as he was going to his car. He was asked some questions about the takeover, just in brief, and he just said he was here to support the club. Just give a little bit of a wry smile. Cammy, do you think he's been a Rangers fan all his life?
I'm not convinced he's a My Jers member, to be honest with you. I doubt he's involved with that. I doubt he's a gold tier or anything. But just quickly, just to go back to the penalties, I've just got to give James Tavernier credit. He's had a lot of criticism across his Rangers career. Give him credit again for stepping up and taking the first penalty. That's what your penalty taker should do, and that's not just Rangers. That's every penalty shootout. Your number one penalty taker should always. So give credit to Tav. And also, as somebody referenced in the comments, I think it's KW talking about Butland being humble enough to take direction from McGregor. It was something I said at the game to the boy next to me. I says, I wish Alan McGregor was in goals for this shootout, but it might not be underestimated the influence that the positive influence that he could have had, because Griggsy was a fantastic penalty saver sort of situation, you know. So I just wanted to talk about that. Who you were talking about, he's obviously they're keeping they'll be catching up with the chief executive and the chairman and all that sort of stuff. I'm sure there'll be ongoing meetings as they're going through this sort of due diligence across the next couple of months. So that was nice, well played to the Sky person. I've not actually watched it in its entirety. Today's been a bit of a write-off, to be honest with you, after a late night last night, but I think I'll probably catch up. But it's good to see him, and I think it'll show what Rangers is about. You know, that again, this is why the 49ers and the investors are wanting to get involved with Rangers, as they see we are a massive football club, and hopefully with their money and decision making, we get back to the top in Scotland, as well as continuing to be competitive. But yeah, very good to see him.
Yeah, do you know what? Sorry. Yeah, there's no better advert, is there, than sitting in that crowd at that final whistle and going, look at that. That is incredible. You always get the tweets from a lot of the news outlets across the world going, my goodness, look at this. It's just incredible. iBox is incredible. You go back to Leipzig, just amazing. And that was definitely mirroring that. And yeah, congrats. It was good to see at the 40th minute as well. Everybody in unison clapping for Chris. That was just absolutely fantastic. Even Jack Butland joined in there as well. So yeah, no, that was good. And actually, well done to the Fenerbahce fans. Obviously, they had a couple of flags with his name on. So yeah, you know, rest in peace, Chris Potter. And nobody should go to the football and never come back. That is just something that shouldn't happen. And great respect all around there. Just before we move on to looking ahead to Sunday's game, because we'll have a little look at that. Ryan, a question I wanted to ask yourself. When you look at Rangers, we're pretty used to playing 2 games a week. And we tend to generally play pretty well in Europe when we play 2 games a week. Do you think having that kind of week between games, do you think that hampered us a little bit yesterday?
I could have touched on that earlier on. It looked as if we'd played a game in between, but this is just, I don't know, it was maybe just too much time to give the players information or just too much downtime. Maybe the players just like that kind of rolling way. Well, Rangers have got that rolling Thursday, Sunday. Sorry, you know, where it seems to just continue. Maybe they don't like training. Maybe they can't be both training. Maybe they just like a rest day training a game right away. But I think it probably suits us better. I think it's always going to suit us better, the kind of games coming thick and fast and the gaps in between. I've always kind of felt we're slow coming back from international breaks and stuff like that as well. So I would say it probably suits us better just going right into Sunday from that Thursday night. Even with the 120 minutes we played, I think we've proven in the past that we can play Celtic after 120 minutes and beat them. So I fancy Rangers to do all right on Sunday as well. I'm not saying go out and beat Celtic or anything, but by a convincing score or anything, but I think Rangers could surprise us a wee bit on Sunday.
Yeah, let's get on to Sunday, because of course it's not exactly the perfect preparation, is it, Mark? Where you've had 120 minutes, you've had penalties, and then in a couple of days' time you're heading to the home of your arch rivals at the other end of the city. We don't know who's fit yet, and if there's anybody that might be teetering on potentially red zones for injury. How are you feeling going into the Old Firm? It's been a bit of a weird week, a bit of a weird build-up, because obviously one game's overshadowed the other because we've just not been at the races in Scotland. The league's essentially done. How are you feeling going into Sunday, Mark?
I think it's a strange one, isn't it? I think it's, do I see another wee shape change potentially? I don't know if he'll go with 3 the way Celtic plays sort of a 3 high. I don't know if he'll keep a 3 for that, unless he could revert to a sort of a play it as a 5 with sort of the same personnel if everybody was fit potentially. So I think there's a few wee things in it. I think it's one of them, and you want to go and win the game, don't we? Let's face facts. We're not going to sit here and say anything else. But right now, if you offered me a draw, would I take it? Possibly. But I think what Barry has shown in the squad have shown, and even like Danilo and raging he doesn't go on the park, and he shows that they're in it together, which we've sort of questioned over the last sort of a 3-4 games prior to Ferguson coming in. Is everybody singing off the same hymn sheet? So I think it's going to be another. You're not going to have a game for the best part of 10, 12 days, I think, or maybe nearly 14 by the time you play again after it. So there shouldn't be any red zone, and somebody's a wee bit tired, and maybe that Czerny would have probably came off due to sports science the other night, probably well before he did. Whether that's something that we're not looking at as much now. So that was obviously Clermont's sort of a get out where Barry's a wee bit more Glasgow based, and right, let's roll the sleeves up, and I'm going to go a wee bit further. So I think it's about us, isn't it? 3-0 the last game, we were very, very comfortable. I think we were very comfortable in the cup final as well when we played them. Obviously that didn't go our way in penalties. So I don't feel Celtic. That might come back to bite me, and I hope not. But as I say, I think it's all about what we do. Can we go and keep the ball a wee bit better than we did the other night? Can we get our lines a wee bit closer? I just don't think you'll play a 3 the way that they set up. I don't think.
Yeah, no, interesting, Mark. I see you've got the battle fever on already. You're pretty confident in that respect. So no, that's good to see. Cammy, in my head, I'm getting kind of visions of was it Ufa we played when we went down to 10 men? I think was it 9 men at one point, and then we had a long trip back, and then over at Parkhead where we had to completely change tactically and sit back and defend. We just aren't a team that can sit back and defend, especially at Parkhead. Do you think that the energy levels are really going to come into play on Sunday?
It's going to be a factor. There's no any doubt about it. But I mean, Celtic's had the week to prepare, but there's no any guarantee that actually works in your favour. So I think Mark's spot on with regard to how it's about what we do. We've been competitive against them this season. It's the other 10 teams that's the problem. It's not been when we've played against Celtic. So just take care of the ball and just be like, play it like an away game in Europe sort of situation. You know, a performance like you've done in numerous away games across that's all you're looking for. Don't make your own mistakes. Sort of situation, but energy's a factor. But I mean, recovery day, get a couple of good nights sleeps and what have you. Sleep in the Cairo chamber for a couple of days, and you'll be fine. To be honest with you, you know, these are the games that these guys, whether it's a dead rubber or not, these are the games. There's 2,500 Rangers fans going to be there that you're going to actually hear. 2,500 Rangers fans, whereas before it's been 600-700 stuck in the corner behind 5 poles. So it's I think there's plenty of motivation to go there, and it would be good to get through these last two Old Firm games this season undefeated. You know, if you could come out of the 2 games with 4 points, I think that would be a positive and a good thing for Barry across the 3 months he's in charge.
Yeah, no, definitely. And to be fair, Barry Ferguson himself, I think, kind of agrees with you there, Cammy. He said earlier today in the press conference, I won't use 120 minutes as an excuse for Sunday. The players are well looked after here. 1 or 2 had minor issues, and we'll see how they are tomorrow after today's recovery session. We've got some huge games coming up, some really tough games. Obviously, the one on Sunday, you don't get much tougher. There is still a lot to play for in terms of pride. As a footballer, these are the games you've got to look forward to. As a manager, I can't wait to go and sample it for the first time on the touchline. That will be interesting. It's a place I always like to go and play. It's hostile. They're the sorts of environments I like to go to. I want my players to go and embrace these stadiums. I'm sure I'll get a nice reception. So, you know what? That is something that's a little bit different to what we've seen from previous managers. Obviously, previous managers have spoke about hard places to go, but Barry laps it up. He loves this. He just loves this. This is what you want to see from a manager. Now, does he have the time to really instill that into the team? I don't know yet. But a big factor, like Cammy says there, Mark, big thing is having the 2,500 Rangers fans there. What would you reckon of that? Do you think they'll make enough noise?
They'll certainly make noise in it. We need to be in the stadium 2 hours prior to kick-off and everything that goes with it. But it'll be different for some of them. Maybe some of the players that are there that have actually no experienced any fans potentially at the ground when we've played at all. So I think that'll be interesting for them. But look, I think Barry's got the battle fever on in it with his words, and he wants to go and win it. It's if he goes and takes 4 points and he gets to the final, does he end up getting the job? It's a job interview for him, isn't it? That's the way he's looking at it. You hear what he says, and he speaks about it in his presser today and about my players. And it'd be quite easy if somebody else come in at this moment in time and, well, I know my players and I didn't buy any of them. And he sort of galvanises a wee bit. And I'm just hoping that we can continue that on into Sunday.
Yeah, no, I do hope so too. Baz from Hands Across the Water podcast. Great show again, guys, from the boys in Northern Ireland. Thank you. I did see, I think they put out on their Twitter page last night, the celebrations in the house, which was absolutely fantastic. It was always good to see, especially over to our brothers in Northern Ireland. KW, Cherny is built like a sewage eel. He'll be fine for Sunday. I've not heard that one before. Hopefully sewage eels are good at cutting in and taking a shot first time. So, okay, that's a good one. Now, obviously Celtic, one of their big players was Kyogo in these games. Now, it doesn't matter what form he was in, how he was doing in the season, he'd pop up with one shot and he'd score it, wouldn't he, Cammy? So him now not being there, do you think there's a bit of a void? Obviously, Maeda seems to have filled that gap for goals and has been a little bit more advanced. But do you think that is a big thing now going into this Old Firm?
It's one of the frustrations, of which there are many, about all the points that we've dropped since Christmas. You know, that we're not in a position to actually to be competitive for the league title. When Kyogo was reported to be leaving, I just assumed that Celtic had a backup, that somebody was going to come in as a direct replacement. I think Celtic have been fortunate that they've not been tested across this period, and they're able to sort of put Maeda through the middle, which is interesting. Obviously, off the back, he's caused James Tavernier a lot of sleepless nights across recent years. So it'll be interesting to see him and Jota up against Tav on the right hand side. Obviously, they spent a lot of money on Ida, but that doesn't look as though it'll be Kun, Maeda, but Kyogo. How many times have we seen him across recent years? Never really touched the ball, and by the end of the game, he's got 2 goals, or his Old Firm record across his 2-3 years was excellent. And I, for one, I'm glad to see the back of him, to be honest with you. But we'll obviously just have to defend properly and be up the players that Celtic have in their final third, and just be on our game.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there, Cammy. Mark, obviously I was going to ask Ryan a question, but I think Ryan's got some technical issues, so don't worry, he's not just ditched us. I think he's got some technical problems going on. But Mark, defensive partnerships, obviously our defence isn't exactly nailed on. Who would you be going for the 2 main centre-backs if we're going to play with a back 4, which I have a feeling it might be a bit more realistic, unless we are quite good in attack, we might change it up, but I have a feeling we're going to go for a back 4. Who's your 2 main centre-backs in there, Mark?
I think if he goes a 4, I think he'll go, all being well, he'll go Tavernier, Shooter, Balogun and Jefty. I think that's the 4 he'll go. It probably gives us the most consistent, I think. But the worry would be, I think Maeda is slightly quicker than what Kyogo was. I know Kyogo sort of he dropped into wee pockets and we didn't obviously go with him, let him turn and let him shoot himself for 25 yards, and he always seemed to find the back of the net. But I think it would be, for me, getting into the game, if they both are fit, then I think it will be Suter and Balogun if we go a 4.
Okay, Suter and Balogun. Cammy, do you agree with that? Do you think it could be? Do you think this could be a game for Robin Proper, or is he? Have you seen enough from him in previous Old Firm games to know that he shouldn't be anywhere near it?
I think recovery is obviously a factor. Who's picked up injuries? You reference red zones, that sort of situation. Balogun's not played a lot of football, but for me it would be Suter and Balogun. I would like to see Ridvan at left back, to be honest with you. I think Jeffty's performances across the last couple of months since he was linked to Chelsea. I'm not saying he's had his head turned, but I don't think he's been good at all. He was in front of me the second half last night, and obviously I was watching everything, but he was daydreaming on a lot of occasions. I just think he looks as though this. I don't know, the thing he's playing for a massive club and playing continuously. He is only still a young guy, but I would like to see Ridvan, and I think it would also offer a wee bit of freshness as well, because although Ridvan's played like an hour last night, I just think that he's coming back. He's not got a lot of miles in the tank, and he should be quite fresh. So that's the back four that I would expect. That's the back four that I would be telling Barry when he sends me a WhatsApp message later on.
You tell him, Cammy. You tell him.
Long as you win, Cammy, I don't care, to be fair. Long as you win.
Well, do you know what? I do agree with the Yilmaz thing. I was thinking that yesterday, to be fair. I'd rather have seen Yilmaz there, and obviously, if you want to play Jeffty, have him a little bit more advanced, because he does offer something in an attacking sense, but there's been too many occasions this season where he has just let someone ghost in behind him and he doesn't know they're there. Which is the awareness. There's been about at least three occasions now where that has happened. So you don't want that when you've got a Celtic attacking team swarming at you, because they do swarm and they'll be everywhere. We need a bit of solidity there in that defence. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I didn't think Balogun had the best game. He had two polar opposite games. The game out in Istanbul, he had 100%, winning every header to clear the ball. And I just think he was just a bit slow last night, but that's not necessarily all on him. That is, I think that obviously he's just getting to that point in his career. But you know what? It's going to be a difficult one to predict. Obviously, Brendan Rodgers will be looking to get some vengeance back for that 3-0 win, which I think a lot of their fan base is saying is a fluky result. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We seem to play better away from home at the minute, which is not necessarily a good thing, but that's just because you can't win at home. But it will be a little bit of a different game, I think, personally. I think with having the fans back there, I think that will add something. And maybe we can take elements of Thursday's game, be on the high of getting through, and hopefully take that and get something out of the game on Sunday, because we haven't won there since Connor Goldson's double. And frankly, it's just an unsatisfactory record for me. But yeah, we're getting towards an hour, guys. So this has been an absolutely fantastic pod. We've managed to celebrate Rangers qualifying for the quarterfinals of the Europa League once again. We do this a few times, don't we? We always do this, don't we? But absolutely fantastic to see a club from Scotland keeping the Scottish flag flying high in Europe. And don't forget, like and subscribe, everyone. You might see Curry on soon as well. And yeah, I think we want to actually get subscribers, Scotty, not put them off, but there we go. Thank you to everyone that's been listening in at home on YouTube, on the socials. Don't forget to follow the Rangers Journal. Don't forget to visit our pod sponsor, Off to the Match I Go. Use the promo code Journal10. They got some fantastic stuff on there. I had to leave the website because I do not have a fortune to spend, because there's some great stuff on there. There really is. Do check it out. There's some signed shirts and stuff on there as well. You get 10% off all products with the promo code Journal10. So do put that in, guys, if you're buying. But I'd just like to thank Mark. What a great debut that was, like Chris Boyd's debut. So a hat trick there. So well done, big man. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a joy. It was a joy.
Absolutely fantastic. And Cammy, as usual, absolute pleasure to have you on, big man.
I'll echo what you're saying, Mark. Fantastic debut, like a seasoned pro. To be honest with you, it's good to be positive about Rangers. It's been an up and down season, and the last 8 of the Europa League again, it can't be underestimated. Whether you're fortunate or not, the bottom line is we're in the last 8 of the Europa League, and it's we've continued to enhance our reputation. Just quickly, Barry Ferguson has really impressed me with regard to his media. I think he's not appeared like the only an excuse character that I think a lot of people were expecting. I think he's came across as very pragmatic. I would love. I don't want Barry Ferguson to be the Rangers manager, but he's got so many facets of his character and everything that a Rangers manager needs, or a backroom staff needs, and that's not me advocating Barry at all. He's from the similar age to myself, and I think that's why he speaks like a Ranger. He speaks like me. It's like having a conversation with myself sort of situation. So I just hope between now and the end of the season that the players can do Barry credit, to be honest. I think Curry asked a question earlier on about the photograph. The 2 photographs there are both Nacho Novo. Nacho Novo Helicopter Sunday, Nacho Novo in Florence. So Nacho was one of these players he had iconic moments and scored iconic goals. So he's always going to have pride of place in the Blue Room. But I've enjoyed listening to Barry, and I think I have not used that emoji that I used very regularly on social media across the last couple of weeks. The waffle and the Belgian flag. It's been thoroughly enjoyable to listen to Barry Ferguson across the last couple of weeks, because he is one of us. So hopefully that he gets the players in the right mindset and they put a performance in on Sunday to make us all proud.
Oh, absolutely fantastic words. And I do hope that Barry is going to be part of some sort of coaching setup at Rangers in the future, because just that influence, the guy knows how to win. And it's simple. And, it is refreshing to hear him speak, because he just doesn't mince his words. He doesn't use the PR sanitized answers like politicians do. No, it's absolutely brilliant. And I hope you're looking forward to your run there, Cammy. You were mentioning earlier you were going from Manchester to Liverpool. I took a train from Manchester to Liverpool last week, and it took me over an hour. So you're in for a long one, big man. But
I done it last year, Andrew. 8 hours 50 minutes last year, and it actually turns out the second leg against Bilbao, I will be in Manchester on the same night that Manchester United are playing Lyon. My hotel's about a mile from Old Trafford, so I was hoping that maybe the Rangers game was going to be at 6 o'clock and the Man United game was going to be 8 o'clock, but they're both 8 o'clock kickoff. So obviously Rangers take priority, but yes,
they certainly do. Absolutely brilliant. Well, good luck with that one, Cammy. I'll just get the bus. It would just be easier than running it. But no, thank you, everyone. And of course, don't forget, everybody, every night is a Rangers Journal night. So take care, everyone. Enjoy the game at the weekend, and do stay safe. I'm away for some cough medicine. See you later, guys.